Students in the MTS and some occasionally students in the MDiv can do an honors thesis as part of their regular course load. So it counts as 2 course credits, so 2 one-semester courses. Normally people do it over a year, although it's possible to do it in 1 semester or over a summer. Doesn't depend on how long it takes, doesn't depend on how many credits you get. It's 2 credits for these theses. Now in the MTS, most MTS students will do this as a thesis. You don't have to. You could opt to only do a research and reading course. You have to do some kind of independent study for the MTS, but most students do a thesis. And MDiv students, most don't, but you certainly have the option if again, the last 10 credits of your degree, if you want to do some in-depth study that's even more detailed than a research and reading course, you want to write a thesis, you would ask for my permission to do a thesis. And it's a similar process to a research and reading course. In other words, there's no rules on what the topic is, but you have to have a supervisor willing to supervise you in that topic, and it has to be a topic that's manageable in our academic judgment. So you can't write, a book-length material as a thesis. I mean, it has to be something that you can write and cover well within 10,000 to 12,000 words. So it's a big, long essay, basically, as long as a long journal article, a little bit longer if you're at 12,000 words. So it's an extended study with a supervisor who oversees this and gives you some support as you do it. Right? Come up with a reading list, discuss with your supervisor the structure, the organization of this, how many sections it has, or chapters, or whatever you think is helpful. Right? And I encourage you all to, if you're thinking about a thesis, don't start to talk to me or to a potential supervisor like the first week of classes. If you want to do it in that semester, try to think ahead, plan ahead. Like maybe you, at the beginning of the year, say, oh, after Christmas, I might want to write a thesis, right? Or next summer, I might want to write a thesis, and start talking with myself or with your faculty advisor or the person you hope will be your supervisor, and start to plan that ahead so you don't have to rush, because you want to be able to enjoy this process. So MTS thesis, students, it's obvious why you would do a thesis. It's normally part of your course requirements, so you're doing this to complete your degree. MDiv students, why might you consider this? Well, one reason is just because you want to spend some time thinking deeply about a specific topic that excites you, and you just would enjoy that as an opportunity. That's a perfectly valid reason. Another reason some MDiv students consider this is they think, well, maybe someday I might want to do a doctorate. And an MDiv honors thesis is normally considered evidence of independent study sufficient for admission to the PhD. Certainly his is here at the Toronto School of Theology. Likewise, obviously, for MTS students, so that you might do that to prepare for PhD work, but it also works for MDiv students. Some MDiv students think of this more as sort of a practical pastoral project. So you want to plan a curriculum or do some thinking on how to lead a certain kind of worship, or work with young people, or do pastoral care with seniors. And you want to do that in your ministry, and so you want to spend some intensive time thinking about it. Maybe you'll turn your thesis not so much into publication or going on to a doctoral study, but maybe you'll use this as a resource in your pastoral ministry at some point. And so that's a third reason some MDiv students choose to do a thesis. You need my permission to do it if you're in the MDiv. You need to have a good, reasonable GPA, and so you need, show that you can do your academic work fairly successfully before we will let you embark on this. And again, MDiv students really don't wait until you're in your last year or your last 10 credits of the degree before you take this on.